Hello, welcome back to Putting a Story in History. Today we're going to talk about something that's kind of relevant to today, but also just a cool piece of history. So we're going to talk about um, the last time the United States Capitol was breached by someone. And we'll talk about that a little bit and then also talk about today a little bit. So the last time the Capitol was breached was back in the 1800s, and the people who breached it were the British. And you'd probably think, well, the Capitol wasn't around when we were fighting the British. And if you're thinking about the Revolutionary War, that's true. But we also fought the British in the War of 1812. And that war started because the British Navy were basically taking American citizens and forcing them to be in the British Navy. So they would raid American trading ships and they would force the sailors on those ships to become British soldiers, which America didn't like. Britain was also at the time blockading France because of the Napoleonic Wars, so that was our main trade partner, so we were a little upset about that, obviously. And then also England was financing the Native American raids on our borders. So our goal was really to kind of establish ourselves and our sovereignty, and also kind of defend our rights as an independent nation, because Britain was basically bullying us because we were new and they still didn't think of us as our own independent nation, right? They were kind of sore about losing the war for independence. So, like I said, right, Napoleonic Wars are going on. There's some wars over the Great Lakes region happening in this time period. So, like in the scheme of America, this is a very important part. But in the grand scheme of world history, this is kind of a really small part of a much bigger conflict happening during this time period. So, what actually happened? So, the fighting in this war was mostly at sea or in the Northwest Territories of the United States or in Canada. However, in August of 1814, British troops led by General Robert Ross attacked and captured Washington. And these troops then were asked to destroy public buildings like the White House and the Capitol. So they set them on fire, they smashed everything, and they destroyed a lot of stuff. Now, they did this because earlier in the war, the United States attacked York in Canada, which is now Ontario, and we destroyed their Parliament building in York. So this was kind of like a retaliation for that destruction. And that was the last time the U.S. Capitol was breached by anyone, really, up until January of this year. Now, this war only lasted about 3 years. The Capitol was rebuilt, obviously, because we still have it. And, it's been pretty well protected up until a month ago. And so who breached the Capitol now, right? It's not a foreign army, but homegrown American terrorists who believe in conspiracy theories. And they went to this Trump rally where they were told to go and take arms and march to the Capitol and do something about it. And so they breached the Capitol grounds and attempted to overturn the 2020 elections. So they're trying to overturn this election. They wanted Donald Trump to still be president. And as we've learned more information, we've learned that they were planning on kidnapping or assassinating congresspeople. So that's not great. How was this able to happen, right? We haven't had a Capitol breach since a foreign army occupied Washington, D.C. And as we've learned more and more, we've learned that the Capitol Police were allowing people onto the grounds. We've learned that Republican congressmen were giving people tours of the building prior to make it easier for them to get around. And they were egged on by the president and the administration of our country, which is awful. So who is responsible for this newest attack on our Capitol? Some almost 200 years later. Well, over 200 years later at this point. It's Trump, it's Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley, Rudy Giuliani, the 100+ House Republicans who contested election results, and the Capitol Police members who were letting them into the grounds. So what's being done about it? Well, Trump is currently been impeached by the House. We're awaiting a Senate trial. There's a Capitol Police investigation by the House Oversight Committee over that. The people who run those sorts of things, they're investigating. Possible expulsion of members via the 14th Amendment, so members who egged this on or anything like that, there's a talk about expulsing them from Senate and the House, so they no longer be senators or House members. And a lot of attackers have been arrested and charged with felonies. However, a lot of them have been released on bail since then. So they're not currently in prison, but they are being charged. So hopefully something gets done about that. I just like to think it's a pretty interesting comparison how the last time our capital was attacked. It was attacked by a foreign military power, and now this time it was attacked by its own citizens. Something to think about. Anyway, this has been an episode of Putting the Story in History. I hope you enjoyed it. And next time, we'll do something completely different, as we like to do on this show. So we'll see you soon. Bye.